Chair recognizes gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Bishop, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I was struck by my colleague's comments and by yours earlier that this, in the direction that this is a same old problem. That's not correct. The experience we're having with illegal immigration in this country and have had since the beginning of the Biden administration is anything but same old, same old. It is historically unprecedented. It is not happening like this everywhere in the world. The premise of the Biden policy on immigration has been that it's more humane. On that premise, Secretary Mayorkas, you've released 880,000 people into the country, illegal migrants, another 600,000 gotaways, give or take. Many of those absolutely are criminals. Some are drug dealers, some are sex offenders. You can't guarantee that there aren't or that they won't commit crimes. What is your message to Americans who are going to be murdered, raped, killed by drugs, have their lives destroyed by flourishing trafficking because of your policy?
Congressman, thank you for the opportunity to answer your question. First of all, let me address your statement that it's not happening elsewhere in the world.
Well, that wasn't my question.
No, but that's
my question to you, sir, and I'd like you to answer my question rather than make your own speech, if you don't mind. What do you have to say to Americans who will suffer grievous crime, be victims of crime by virtue of people being allowed into the country and released when you need not have done so?
Individuals who enter the country are placed in immigration enforcement proceedings. They have the opportunity to make a claim for relief under the laws that this Congress has passed.
So your answer to them, your answer to the Americans who will suffer crime is that that people get to make asylum claims.
If I can finish my answer,
I'm not going to give you my time to make a long-winded answer.
No,
if you want to answer directly the question I'm asking, which is, do you have a message?
Mr. Bishop, just let him answer.
Mr. Chairman, it is my time. And I'm not going to let him filibuster me. I'm not going to let him filibuster me, Mr. Chairman.
Well, he's trying to answer your question.
If he decides he wants to go on a filibuster, then I'll just ask him another question. My question is, do you have a message to those Americans who will be victims of crime because of your policy?
That we are taking a tougher stand on criminals who have entered this country illegally. And the data suggests that. We are more focused on public safety threats, true public safety threats to the homeland than the prior administration was. And in fact, we have removed more aggravated felons and felons in 1 year than the prior administration did.
Interestingly, in all of those...
And I think it's almost double, actually.
In all of those actual individual categories of serious felony crimes, your numbers are lower, but somehow you have a larger number overall. It's amazing. Let me ask you this. 100,000 Americans died of overdoses last year. DEA says 95% of the fentanyl that comes in this country comes across the southwestern border. Do you feel a personal sense of remorse for those Americans who've died because fentanyl is coming in right and left across a border that is overwhelmed by illegal migration?
The fentanyl crisis has been building year in and year out, and of course we mourn the loss of individuals who've lost their lives. Do you know that in 2020, there was an approximately 50% increase in opioid deaths in this country over 2019? 2020 over 2019. The number of opioid overdose deaths in this country has grown each year, year in and year out, well prior to this administration. And what we have to do as a country is address the fundamental underlying cause, which is demand.
Sir,
and I should say also
let me ask you about the migrants.
Is sought to be brought into this country through the ports of entry. The great majority is through the ports of entry. Where we have interdicted...
Where your agents have been diverted to processing illegal migrants.
And we have interdicted more fentanyl
I've got 30 seconds left.
2021 than we did in the prior year.
Almost 700 migrants have died on American soil in the process of entering the country. Do you feel personal remorse for their loss?
Do you realize that under the migrant protection protocols, according to a human rights organization, more than 1,500 individuals were murdered, raped, tortured, or suffered serious crimes in Mexico.
You'd rather have
There
the
was no-
700 dead? I yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired.